ravage statues of the Good Mother, how dare they? To ravage statues of the Good Mother, how dare they? To ravage statues of the Good Mother, how dare they?
The bandits had pitched camp in a nearby wood. Spirits buoyed by the wine they'd stolen from the cloister cellar, the brigands had not posted sentries.
Another round! To the sisters!
Neve's soldiers were eager, insistent. The desecrators would be punished. Yet only the Queen could order the assault.
High time we put these strays on a leash.
Spat the Queen, spurring her horse.
To arms! Follow me!
Tankards clattered to the ground as the strays reached for their weapons. The brigands would not even fathom giving up without a fight.
Left, right, left, right.
Looking to dance, mate? Should have listened to me, old lady. Can't take it anymore.
See if he's hid any coin in his pockets! Or his owns!
Give me a time. What you looking at?
Regroup!
Abolition, your command.
You might have got away had you not been hauling so damn much. The mist's gonna pass me those lovely earrings? Or do I tear them off myself?
I'm a monster.
Gotta get our asses moving. Discipline shall bring us victory!
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads.
No time for that!
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
I'm coming.
I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away.
The Queen's company defeated the bandits and recovered the loot. Silver chalices, reliquaries lined with mother-of-pearl, gold-embroidered robes.
The priestesses would be grateful to have their treasures returned, Your Grace. They would pray ardently for your victory.
Reynard opined.
Yet, you could also keep the silver, expend it on the war effort. And who's to say which, prayer or coin, would be more useful?
Melitele will understand.
Meve answered, after a moment's consideration. Then she ordered the Abbey's treasures loaded onto her wagons. As they went on their way over uneven ground, each clink and clank reminded the Queen that to save her realm, she had stolen from the gods.
Sure you can bind a rabid dog, tie his four legs together, but you'll not stop him from lashing out and biting!
Blasphemers, pagans, idolaters who prostrate themselves to the sun. Curse you, sons of Nilfgaard. Mongrels, tear your flesh and gnaw your bones. Blasphemers, pagans, idolaters.
You've shown yourself to be merciful, milady. I feared the Blackclads won't be so inclined. Not in the least.
Kings and emperors fight. Leave the common folk to tidy up. Never damn changes. Ever the same. Your Majesty, you saved us, and not a moment too soon. From death. And fate's worse than that, I'd say. Golden armor, golden hair, reaps blackclads like grain. Maeve, Maeve, Maeve!
Niamh stood surrounded by advisors, discussing, when all at once they heard a mighty thud.
Bloody hell!
They looked to see a cavalryman who'd clearly fallen from his saddle. The men who'd witnessed the blunder began to jest, only to choke on their laughter, as the wretch, having risen to his hands and knees, began to shake and vomit blood. The medic's diagnosis: poison. In spite of his best efforts, the cavalryman breathed his last that very night. Soon, several other riders developed the same symptoms, and at the last shared their comrade's fate. All were buried at the roadside, beneath an old willow.
This looks to be no coincidence,
Reynard said, gravely.
Our stores of water. Someone's poisoned them. We must find the fiend. In the interim, your Majesty must quench her thirst with wine.
Milady, a strange boat floated past. Thought it Imperial, but it flew not black sails, but red uns. Deep red. Blood.
Horns sounded. Niamh recognized them at once as those of the Lyrian vanguard. She drew her sword and prepared to face the invader. Yet coming down upon her force were not Nilfgaardians, but bearded warriors clad in leather, horned helmets on their heads. This was not so. The Queen could not believe her eyes.
Skelligan raiders? This far inland?
But this was no time to be bewildered. Niamh spurred her horse. It neighed and reared, and then the twain leapt into the fray.
Reynard, what the devil? Sea raiders here!
This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads.
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf, I am.
If the ring won't come off, just take the whole finger.
The gods are with us!
We'll ransack your temples! Wipe ourselves on your vestments!
Let us put our steel to the test!
Again and again and again.
Give us all you got!
Ours is not to reason why.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Older Blackhand's taking on new swabbies. What do you say?
You've got stones, wench!
Gods are blowing fair winds the day.
Armor's a waste of time for one like me.
Got a bad case of roller's back.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
Give me a time.
Reynard, what the devil? Sea raiders here!
For Rivia!
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf, I am.
The gods are with us!
Left, right, left, right.
We'll ransack your temples! Wipe ourselves on your vestments!
Let us put our steel to the test!
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
Aye.
Again and again and again.
Give us all you got!
One boat's all I need. Should have listened to me old lady.
Gods are blowing fair winds today.
Give me a target.
You've got stones, wench.
Ugh, got a bad case of rower's back.
Olga Blackhand's taking on new swabbies. What do you say?
Arbalist to your command.
The Skelligers fought hard, fought bravely, brought mayhem. Yet the Queen's ordered, disciplined force won the day. The islanders seemed entirely undismayed at their defeat. A trait of theirs, I must admit, I've ever admired.
Well, you're right scrappy for landlubbers. Lippy Goodman applauds you for your pluck, Queen. When we sup, me and the lads will drink your health.
That we shall yet see, sir. We must know something first. What brings you this far inland? What drove you from the sea?
Meve asked, crossing her arms.
Ha! What always drives us? Looting and pillaging. The coast's picked clean since long, so we set our longships up the Yaruga for gold and glory!
Amusing. I always assumed you to be honourable folk.
And who dares to claim elsewise?
Your very actions do so. You've attacked a land preoccupied, a land already at war with invaders, but I suppose it makes sense. You've ever feared to attack Imperials?
The Queen prodded gently.
What did you say, wench?
Gudmund had quickly turned red with rage.
I'll prove just how wrong you are, I will! Why, we'll be drinking mead from Nilfgaardian helmets for sundown! Follow me, lads!
Meve smiled as she watched the islanders gather their gear and prepare to march. She doubted not in the least that Gudmund would honor his pledge.
Here the damage seems not so great.
It appears Nilfgaard's not yet turned its forces towards the capital. We're likely to encounter no more than pathfinders and foragers.
So I hope.
Our ballista, your command.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
Armor won't say.
We must trust each other!
If the ring won't come off, just take the whole finger.
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
As Meve and company traversed the ruddy meadows, strident voices reached their ears.
I beg your pardon. I've heard enough. A duel. I challenge you to a duel.
A duel? Nonsense. I'd sooner lay you across my lap and give your arse a thorough flailing, you scoundrel.
The Queen approached the arguing parties. Two nobles, Lords Cartwright and Mansfield. Quickly she ascertained they were up in arms over ownership of an orchard lying between their estates. Assisting both nobles, their kinsmen, armed to the teeth, prepared to leap at each other and crush heads. Upon spotting Meve, the lords lowered their voices, bowed and presented themselves. Yet they could not keep their ire fettered long, and were soon casting aspersions again.
Your Grace, Mansfield has seized it. No, stolen my land. Land that has been in my family for generations.
It is my recompense for your reckless deeds. To burn down me mill in Furchin for a bit of sawdust in your flour? Well, I never.
A bit? A bit? Oh, let me at him. Farmhands taken ill, cooks feverish, all from that manure. You are a fraud, sir. A fraud and a thief.
Though she faced the not at all trifling matter of the Nilfgaardian invasion, Meve agreed to settle the dispute. Reynard, who knew the history of every Lyrian and Rivian family 7 generations back, served as her advisor.
No doubt I would find for the Cartwrights. They are in the right here, as regards the title to the land. Yet your grace must consider, the Mansfields have ever served the crown and never delayed payment of tribute. Whereas the Cartwrights are litigious charlatans who owe the royal treasury thousands, many thousands.
From what I've gathered, you've both burdens on your conscience,
said the Queen.
And I've neither the time nor the inclination to ascertain who started this feud. You will split the orchard in 2. Make do with half a piece.
But my Queen...
Should my judgment displease you, Mansfield, I can always incorporate the land into the crown.
The Queen's threat silenced the feuding lords, yet it failed to bring their conflict to a close. In a few years' time, they were at one another's throats yet again.
You bloated ass bladder! We'd have managed it ourselves, I told you. But no. Judgment. You had to have judgment. You demanded it.
On their way to the capital, Meve and company happened one fine day upon a lone rider. Had I been at her side, I would immediately have recognized his passionate gaze and altogether chivalrous mien.
Identify yourself, sir, and your intent.
Ache of Denel I am dubbed, and my design I never conceal. The good book says the world is a garden which the gods once conferred upon man, and we men have this garden neglected. In consequence, all manner of filth has made its lair here. Drowners, ghouls, and other kobolds. I have sworn ne'er to rest until the day when, with the gods' help, I have rid the world of these beasts and pests. I wander all lands, seeking out evil, and facing it in mortal combat.
Who do we spy? A knight-errant?
Just as likely a madman. How goes your hunt? Caught the trail of any monster?
Monster? Too fair a term by far. An exceptionally vile worm has made its lair in nearby caverns. It is said to be the very distillation of filth. A slither in horror. A mélange of the macabre. Its head, that of a wild cat of Ophir. Its maw full of spiked teeth. The wings of a bat it is said to have. The tail of a scorpion, and from it a thick venom drips. Learned men call this variety a manticore, or mardiacore.
Perhaps it will be most prudent, then, to send for a witcher.
A witcher? Soulless automatons they are, all, feeding on common folk's fears. What they demand gold to do, I perform without demand of any coin.
Sir Ake, far be it from me to discourage you. Your endeavor is noble, no doubt, but from what I have heard, manticores are exceedingly dangerous beasts.
To defeat this filth alone could be a difficult task, I'll not deny. Yet try it I must, for it is what I have sworn before the gods.
We shall help you find and fight the manticore, provided you then pledge to help us fight an even fiercer and filthier beast.
Of course, my lady. Yet what manner of horror is it? A viper? A griffin? A drake of some rare form?
Were it only. 'Tis a beast of 1,000 heads, covered in black armor, its fire consuming whole villages.
Noble lady, I know bestiar is only in parts, yet I've seen some of the world, and never have I heard of such a terror.
You need but look about you, and spot Nilfgaard's legions.
Devastating. But you must forgive me, your grace. This struggle between realms is not one to which I can lay a hand.
A manticore. How great is its appetite? How many men does it fell, in a moon, let us say?
It changes. At a time when the horror broods, it may be as many as 20.
I see. As now you must. Nilfgaard in my capital could mean as many as 20,000 felled. You live to fight evil, injustice, do you not? You can fight none greater than by doing so at my side.
The manticore, your grace, must fall first. As to what happens later, I shall need to consult the good book and petition the gods.
Agreed, so be it. This monster, where lies its lair? Where does it prowl?
To the north, my queen. A few leagues on.
Not a scrap. Nothing to bury. Blood's all that's left. Not a scrap. Nothing to bury. Blood's all that's left behind.
'Tis in these ravines. The beast is near. I sense it.
At the furthest depth of the winding, gloomy canyon, scouts found the maw of a great cavern. Among the boulders outside it, whitening bones lay strewn. Ake dismounted and drew his blade.
By the god's grace, we've found the beast's lair,
he said, lifting his gaze to the heavens.
We need them but to extend their favor as we battle the filth.
Meve cast a critical eye at her shield. Wood clad in leather and thin plate. Enough to stop a sword, certainly, but would it protect her from a beast's raging blow? Noticing her hesitation, Reynard approached the Queen and said,
Your Grace, none will utter a disparaging word should you step back.
But they will think them,
replied Meve.
and that's bad enough. The war has begun. I can't appear weak to my fighting men.
Without awaiting an answer, Meve strode into the cave. The rest of the company followed, equally full of fear and faith in their queen and commander. Moments later, a great and powerful roar filled the cavern.
And I beheld the beast! Profane horns didst adorn his wicked brow!
Gods protect us.
Beware its claws! The hardest plate they shred like fine vellum! Beware! Its tail flows with deadly venom!
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
An army's a waste of time for one like me.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Left, right, left, right. Again and again and again.
The unworthy shall be punished. We must thank the gods for this victory both great and just.
With ache at their side, the Lyrians fell dramatically. Later it was said the beast's dying wail, multiplied and strengthened as it passed through the caverns, could be heard as far as Spala.
Now pray reveal, have you made your decision? Will you swear to serve me? Are you prepared to take an oath?
I am not, your grace. I can serve only the gods. Yet you seem to hold them in low regard. I noted monastic silver in your wagons.
A war is on. I must have the means to pay all new recruits.
My lady, my pockets needn't concern you. I do not fight beside blasphemers.
Ache spurred his mount and disappeared in haste. I know not what Meve thought. Perhaps she felt some pangs of conscience, though she might also have merely shrugged.
One of them golden sons belongs on the side of my own ship! Nilfgaardians make for good prisoners, good slaves too.
Lady, something's wrong at Abbott's Ravine. I heard whinnies and screams at first. How all's gone silent.
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf, I am. One bullet's all I need.
Give me a time.
We must trust each other.
Well? The worm, just as I said. Now who's addled in the head, eh? Well? The worm, just as I said. Now who's addled in the head, eh?
The Nilfgaardian invasion necessitated certain steps. Meve had dispatched scrolls to her garrison commanders, based upon which they were to announce general musters. She'd hoped that by the time she reached Crydam, fresh recruits would be waiting to join her growing force. Alas, the commander of this fort, one Sergeant Griggs, had only bad news.
Your Majesty, I've not the numbers to man the walls even. The call to arms brings few new recruits and more men desert each day. Folk are terrified something awful. They don't believe in victory.
They don't believe in victory?
The Queen rose from behind the table, toppling her chair.
Then let them hear how I smashed the Blacklads at Dravograd.
Quick as can be, the commander gathered all Crydam's inhabitants in the central square. Meve stepped out in front of the crowd and recounted her most recent victory. The folk of Crydam listened with bated breath.
And so, we must stand together. Fight, arm in arm. Be a wall against which black-clad hordes will be dashed.
The townsfolk responded with thunderous applause, yet enthusiasm is rarely long-lived. That born of Meve's fiery words had dispersed after but a few days. No new volunteers joined the garrison, and the townsfolk hid from Sergeant Griggs to avoid being pressed into service. Neither the town's nor the Queen's own company were reinforced, and Meve left Crydam angry as a wasp.
No will to fight amongst the common folk. No will, no spirit at all. No will to fight amongst the common folk. No will, no spirit at all.
A contract? On a monster? Interesting.
A whole village! Just one big grave now!
What's a folk moving about of late?
One evening, soldiers brought before Meve the elf she had saved from a lynching. It seemed he had been the fiend who had poisoned the water barrels from which several soldiers had drunk, then suffered and died.
Yes, I did it. And I regret it not one bit.
Seethed the elf.
Nilfgaardian, Temerian, some brute from Lyria, you Dwan are all alike. I detest you. All of you, your filth for what you wrought with my brethren. I'm proud. I am that even a few of your kind perished at my hand. Hail and Shay.
Meve pursed her lips into a thin white line. Reynard knew the expression. It did not bode well.
I should drag you to the capital. Hang you high in the market square.
Meve said through gritted teeth.
Yet this you would want. Am I right? For your folk to speak of you? For your folk to remember? Well, you shan't have it. You'll hang here, in the middle of nowhere, with but crows to witness it and then pick at your eyes.
It was a summary execution. No sentence was read, no last wish observed. The elf's corpse then hung long at the roadside, as none came forth to claim and bury it.
We welcome you home, Your Majesty.
Home at last, your grace.
Mm-hmm. We shall not enjoy it long, I fear. Soon we must face the black-clads in the field.
Yet a moment's peace we will have. After that drubbing you gave them at Dravograd, they'll wish to rethink their strategy.
What can I pour you, milady? Vizima's finest? Or a nice Redanian bitter?
Yes, your grace?
It's time I attended to other matters.
Neve had ridden out of Lyria in early spring, her retinue modest, as none larger was needed for the brief summit of sovereigns. She returned now to her capital, at the head of an army that dragged behind it bandits and Nilfgaardian prisoners in chains. The whole city came out to greet her. Its traders, craftsfolk, priests. Also, her eldest son and heir, Prince Willem. A boy who, it seemed, might never be prepared to rule. Meve and Willem rode side by side past the cheering throngs, their faces frozen in regal smiles. It was not until they reached the castle stables that they found a corner in which to speak freely, candidly.
Welcome home, Mother. Content I am to see you, to be sure.
And I'm happy to see you. Though I dare say I'd have been much happier to witness you leading an army towards Dravigrad. Willem, I trusted you. Left the realm in your care.
Indeed. And I, in turn, did my utmost to choose the best course for...
Willem, don't be so damned courtly. There's no one else here. My son. Nilfgaard has invaded our home. We're at war. When rulers don't strive and don't choose, when rulers grab their swords and shields and ride out to defend their subjects.
You didn't let me finish.
All right. Say what you wanted to, please.
I feared I'd be hasty, Mother, and I didn't want to be. When we got word of the invasion, the lords convened at the castle. They demanded I hear them out. They wanted to give me counsel. If I'd rushed into the field to confront the foe, I'd have been half blind to the situation, not known all the options I had at my disposal.
A ruler never knows all the options. Yet he must decide and act nonetheless. I need to prepare. I'll see you at the Council of Peers.